Hello and welcome to this yoga flow where we will be opening up through the hips and the hamstrings and connecting with the flow throughout. So put on some yoga gear, roll out your mat and we will begin. We're going to start today in a child's pose. So just coming onto your mat and we'll start to get into the hips straight away. So we'll separate the knees slightly apart and the toes to touch and then just start to extend the arms out in front of you as you rest the torso towards the thighs. Just coming onto the mat, allowing maybe the forehead to rest down onto the mat beneath you. And just let the shoulders start to roll away from the ears. Allow the hips to feel heavier as they descend towards the heels. And just allow the breath to start to grow. So bringing your attention and your awareness to the breath. Noticing the rise and the fall of the inhale and the exhale into the rib cage, the rise and fall of breath. And just allow for more of an energizing inhale and a grounding exhale. And if you're aware of your ujjayi breath, this strong oceanic sounding breath moving in through the nose and out through the nose, start to cultivate that awareness now. And if not, just naturally breathing in through the nose, out through the nose, inviting a strong breath in is completely fine. And we're going to take 3 breaths together. And they're going to be equal breaths. And we're going to breathe in for 5. Exhale out for 5, and we'll do 3 rounds of each. Slowly, fully exhale all the air out. On your next inhale, start to breathe in for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Exhale 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Inhale 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Exhale 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Inhale 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Exhale 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Take a big inhale through the nose. And then open through the mouth and let the air out, let the breath go. And 2 more just like that. Inhale through the nose. And let the air out, let the breath go out through the mouth. Last time, inhale through the nose. Make this the biggest breath of your day so far. Exhale all the air out through the mouth. Let it go. Slowly from here, just start to extend through the elbows, placing the fingertips down onto the mat. And then slowly just start to peel yourself up to an all fours position. Hands and knees. So take your knees directly underneath the hips and take the wrists directly underneath the shoulders, connecting into center. Strong engagement of the core here. Lengthen, lift through the spine. Let's go for a few rounds of cat and cow just to wake up the body. Inhale, start to lift all the way upwards through the heart and the chest. As the hips lift high, the gaze goes forwards. Exhale, curving and rounding into the spine. So hugging everything into center as if you're hugging a big beach ball. Inhale, start to find lift, lengthen space into the chest. Exhale, curving and rounding into the spine. Inhale, start to lift through the chest, lift through the tail. Exhale, curving and rounding into the spine. And connecting into core. Let's do 2 more rounds. Inhale, find space. Exhale, find that contraction. Inhale, space. Exhale, hug everything into center. And then slowly just start to find a neutral spine position. And from here, we'll tuck the toes under and start to send the knees off the mat. And we'll hold and hover, just need a few inches off the mat. You spread through the shoulder blades, you push the floor away, slight tuck of the tailbone under, and we'll hold for 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Slowly from here, start to send the hips all the way up to the sky. And you can allow the torso to rest towards the thighs as you lengthen outwards through the spine. And maybe then start to straighten the legs, and it might be a little bit or a lot. And then maybe from here you start to pedal out through the feet, bending one leg, straightening out through the other. So this is a flow for tight hamstrings. So notice how the back of the legs are feeling today. Maybe a little shake and a nod of the head. Maybe the hips start to sway from side to side, noticing if the hips feel open or if they feel tight today. Allowing the right elbow to move towards the left knee and the left elbow to move towards the right knee, so we can spread the shoulder blades wide and then just release the head down. We're rooting down through all 10 knuckles, especially the index finger and the thumbs. We're really spreading the fingertips wide onto the mat. And just start to feel the evenness of weight between the hands and the feet. And taking one last breath. Inhale, expanding into front ribs, side ribs and back ribs. Exhale, drawing inwards through the lower belly. On your next inhale, gaze forwards between the hands. On your next exhale, slowly start to walk the feet to the front of the mat. And take your feet hips width distance apart, so directly underneath the hips, the toes pointing forwards, the heels back behind you. Inhale, find length and space into the spine. Hands come onto the shins. Exhale, folding over the legs. Feel free to bend the knees, rest the torso towards the thighs, and just hang the head heavy. And take hold of your opposite elbows and just sway from side to side. My hamstrings definitely feel tight today, so we definitely need this flow. And taking one last breath. Slowly releasing the hands down to the mat, bending into the knees, tuck the tailbone under and vertebrae by vertebrae, as if you're massaging the whole entire spine up to the ceiling. We're going to roll our way up to standing. Head is the last thing to come up. Spread those shoulder blades wide and then lift the shoulders all the way up to the ears and then drop them all the way back down. Releasing, relaxing, lovely. Taking your toes to touch, heels slightly apart, come to standing at the front of the mat, Tadasana, mountain position. Hands meet through heart center. And we're finding this rooting down through all 4 corners of the feet, the squeezing of the inner ankles together, the squeezing through the inner thighs, and then that lift through the center line of the body, this inner line energy lifting all the way upwards through the torso and into the crown of the head. Engaging our core. And focusing on the breath. And as we stand here, just notice the subtle movements in the body. Maybe the little subtle shifts from side to side, the front, the back. Try and find that stillness, elements of calm. And then slowly setting your intention for your practice today, personal intention. And that might just be connecting to the breath with the movement. It might be physically just starting to find more openness into the hamstrings and the hips. It might be just some gratitude for the time that you have taken for yourself today to spend on the mat. Taking some time out for you. And take a big breath in. Big exhale out. Slowly releasing the arms either side of the body. Inhale, reach the arms all the way up to the sky, gazing upwards. Palms come to touch. Exhale, hands move through heart center as you hinge from the hips. Slowly start to fold forwards over the legs. Inhale, lengthen and lift outwards through the spine. Exhale, planting both hands down and stepping both feet back into a strong high plank pose. Setting up your foundations here. Hands are placing down onto the mat, the shoulder blades spreading wide. Tuck the tailbone under, one long line of energy from the crown of the head all the way through to the heels. And again, just notice the weight in the hands and the feet. You might even sway a little bit forwards and back. Slowly as you exhale, drop the knees to the mat. Shift slightly forward over the wrists and bend into the elbows. Lower all the way down to the mat in one piece. Slowly. Inhale, start to lift through the chest, small cobra. Exhale, slide the hips to the heels and then send the hips all the way up to the sky. Downward facing dog, Ardha Mukha Svanasana. Take 3 breaths here. Big inhale. Big exhale. 2 more breaths. Inhale. Exhale. 1 last breath. Inhale. Exhale, and the bottom of your exhale, look forwards between the hands and we'll step both feet to the front of the mat. Inhale, find length and space. Exhale, fold and release. Inhale, reach the arms all the way up to the sky. And exhale, hands back through heart center. Let's go for a second round. Sun salutation A. Inhale, reaching the arms all the way up. Exhale, folding over the legs. Inhale, create space and length. Exhale, planting the hands down, stepping both feet back, or feel free to hop back to a chaturanga, high plank. Exhale, either lower the knees down and go exactly as we did before, or shift forwards, bend into the elbows, lower and hover. Inhale, extend outwards through the chest, the crown of the head. Exhale, downward facing dog, 3 breaths in through the nose. Exhale. 2 more breaths. Exhale, notice if you've lost your alignment in your downward facing dog and just noticing the mapping of the body that we did earlier. Slowly looking forwards between the hands, we'll step or hop the feet to the front of the mat. Inhale, create space and length. Exhale, folding over. Inhale, rooting down, rise all the way up, sweep the arms up to the sky. Exhale, hands back through heart. Inhale, reaching the arms all the way up. Exhale, folding over the legs. Inhale, lift and lengthen. Exhale, planting the hands, stepping or floating back, high plank. To chaturanga, lower the elbows. Inhale, lift the chest, cobra or upward facing dog. Exhale, send the hips to the sky. Downward facing dog, 3 breaths. Inhale. Exhale. 2 more breaths. Inhale. Exhale. 1 last breath. Inhale. Exhale, looking forwards between the hands, we'll step or hop the feet to the front of the mat. Inhale, create space. Exhale, fold and release. From here, start to bend the knees down to the mat. And send the hips down. Inhale, reach the arms all the way up to the sky, or hands can come through heart center. We're coming into a chair pose. Notice what is happening into the hips in this chair pose. Notice if the hips want to swing out to one side or the other. Try and keep them even and square in space. Maybe then shift the weight back and lift all 10 toes off the mat. Take a big inhale, lift up through the torso, lifting upwards through the core. Exhale, folding over the legs. Inhale, lengthen through the spine. Exhale, planting the hands, stepping or hopping back. Either you can head straight back to a downward facing dog or high plank. Exhale, chaturanga. Inhale, lift through the heart. Exhale, slide the hips up to the sky, the heels down to the mat, downward facing dog. On your next inhale, and you're welcome to stay in this downward facing dog if you wish, or sweep the right leg all the way up and back, coming into a 3-leg dog. Take an inhale through the nose, And as you exhale, send that right knee towards the nose, crunch it inwards, and then slowly step the right foot between the hands. And then bend into the right knee, take the knee directly over the ankle, and then turn that back foot so the toes are turning inwards, the heel is slightly outwards. Inhale, start to peel the chest up off that front thigh. And we come into a warrior one. The hands come through heart center, or the arms reach all the way up to the sky, so the shoulders drop. And you want to have almost a leg's length distance between your heels, so you might notice that you need to widen or shorten your stance. One last breath here. And as you exhale, planting the hands down onto the mat, tuck the back toes under, and slowly step it back into a high plank pose. Exhale, shift forwards, lower chaturanga. Inhale, upward facing dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. Inhale, the left leg reaches all the way up to the sky. As you exhale, rounding knee to nose, step the foot all the way through in between the hands. Back heel drops. Inhale, reach the arms all the way up, warrior one. Take a couple of breaths here just to settle into this pose, noticing how the hips are feeling. Notice the openness of the back inner thigh. Notice the bend in the front knee. As you exhale, planting the hands down, tuck the back toes under, step it back, high plank. Exhale, lower chaturanga. Inhale, upward facing dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. Breathe. And let's take 3 breaths here. Notice the sound of your own breath. Notice where the breath wants to explore. Bringing our awareness back into the body. And then slowly looking forwards between the hands, we'll step and hop the feet to the front of the mat. Inhale, lengthen, lift through the spine. Exhale, folding and releasing over the legs. Bending into the knees, send the hips down. Inhale, heart rises. See if you can tap the fingertips down to the mat. Keep the hips exactly where they are, and then see if you can sweep the arms up, just as it is. Chair pose for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Slowly folding forwards over the legs, opening up through the backs of the legs. Inhale, lengthen through the spine. Exhale, planting through the hands. Stepping or hopping back, high plank. Exhale, shift forwards, lower chaturanga. Inhale, lift through the chest. Exhale, downward facing dog. Inhale, I'm going to add something on. The right leg reaches all the way up to the sky, breathing in. Exhale, rounding knee to nose, step the foot through between the hands, drop that back heel down. Inhale, warrior one. Exhale, turn the shoulders, the hips towards the side. Elongate and lengthen through your stance. So maybe the back heel moves back ever so slightly as the toes point towards the side wall. And reaching the arms all the way out. Virabhadrasana 2. Big breath in. Big breath out. From here, using your legs and keeping them exactly where they are, flip the front palm all the way up to the sky and reverse your warrior, extending that left arm down that back leg. Right arm reaches up and over. Big breath here. Exhale out. Slowly from here, coming all the way back to warrior 2. We'll straighten through the front leg. And maybe shorten your stance if you need to, maybe walking the back toes in a little bit. Keeping the hands on the hips, making sure the hips are turning towards the side wall. Extending the arms out to the side, gaze forwards. Exhale, hinging from the hips. Inhale, reach forwards with the right fingertips, as if you're reaching for something at the top of the mat, and then slowly drop the right fingertips onto the shin. Inhale, the left arm reaches off, and you might just hover the right fingertips off. If it's too hard to hover them, just lightly land that right hand onto the shin. Making sure that we're keeping the right hip inwards, the left shoulder lifting up to the sky. Trikonasana. Breathing in. Breathing out. Gazing down towards the mat. Inhale, start to rise all the way up to standing. From here, we'll take our hands onto our hips And turn the hips and the shoulders towards the front of the mat, just as it sounds. And then from here, step the left foot slightly off the center line of the mat, and you might shorten your stance as well. We're going to go for our pyramid pose. Right hip is moving back, left hip is forwards. Maybe a slight bend to the knee to ease off the front hamstring. Sweeping the arms back behind you. You might take hold of opposite elbows, option number 1. Option number 2 is taking the prayer and the palms of the hands to touch and the fingertips to point down towards the mat. Maybe you take the palms to touch and the fingertips pointing up towards the shoulder blades, and you squeeze the fingertips and the palms of the hands together, open through the elbows, turn the torso back towards the front, inhale, lift through the chest, exhale, slight twist towards that right leg, and then slowly start to fold forward with control, lifting up through the center line, lifting up through the lower core, protecting that lower back, and then protecting and opening through the hamstring. And if you want to place the hands down onto the mat or the blocks, please do. Inhale, find more space. Exhale, fold forward. 2 more breaths. If you notice that you're rounding and collapsing into the spine, just keep the chest lifted. Slowly from here, inhale, gazing up, halfway lift. Feel free to keep your hands interlaced exactly as they are in this pose, or you can split them out to the side. We're going to go for a warrior 3, balancing pose. Bending into the front knee, start to shift the weight forwards into the front foot. As the back leg gets lighter and lighter and lighter, it might just lift off the mat an inch. It might be a few inches, it might come directly to hip height, and you can flex the foot, you can point the toe, you can floint the foot, whatever you want to do with that back leg, but keep it engaged. And we'll hold for 5. Embracing the wobbles, and if you fall out, it's fine too. 3, 2, 1. Slowly bending into the right knee. Releasing the hands down onto the mat underneath the shoulders. Inhale, find space and length. Exhale, start to walk the hands inwards. We're coming into a standing split, and it never needs to look like a standing split. Just allowing the energy of that back leg to lift up to the ceiling, and maybe then folding the torso inwards. If you want to experiment with more balance, right hand comes onto the ankle, maybe left hand goes there too. Breathing for last 3, and 2, and 1. Slowly from here, bend into that right knee and lightly step that left foot all the way back to the back of the mat. We're coming into a low lunge. So you're on the ball of that back foot, you've got that right knee bent directly over the ankle. From here, take the left hand down, take the right hand down and drop the back knee down. Lovely. And tuck the back toes under, and inhale, start to lift the chest all the way up off that front thigh. Checking that the hips are square. We're opening through the hip flexor on that left side. Maybe the hands can reach through heart center. Lift all the way upwards, press into that front foot. Maybe the arms reach up to the sky. If you have the space and you want some more, you might start to lean back and open through the chest. And 2 more breaths. Smile, smile to yourself. It always makes you feel good. And slowly releasing the hands softly down to the mat. This time keep the left hand down. Inhale, start to sweep the right arm all the way up to the sky. We're coming into a twist. Try and press into the left hand and lift out from the left shoulder, and then sweep the right arm high. If you want a little more, you can tuck the back toes under and lift the back knee. If you want even more, you can roll onto the outer edge of that left foot, the outer edge of the right foot, and you send the hips down. So we're in a little bit of a hip dip. And maybe the arm reaches towards the back wall. 1 last breath. Slowly coming all the way back to center. Wherever you are, framing the front foot. Tuck the back toes under, lift the back knee if it's not already. Listen, hug the right knee towards the nose, and then send that right leg all the way up and back. Come into a 3-leg dog. From here, bend the knee and open out through the hip. Option to stay here. Also option, if you want, you can shift the weight forwards over the arms, and then you come onto the ball of that back foot and see if you can take that right leg back behind you as the right fingertips come lighter and lighter and lighter. The right toes plant down to the mat and the hips start to lift up to the sky as you reach the heart high. So you come into a wild thing. Feel free to stay in that 3-leg dog. Another option in that wild thing is to bend both knees. Send the hips and the heart higher. Slowly releasing, coming all the way back to a downward facing dog. Take a deep breath in. Deep breath out. Really nice. And feel free to take child's pose whenever you need it. Whenever you feel that the breath is running away with you, we'll always meet back in whatever pose we're in. Inhale, the left leg reaches up to the sky. We'll go for the second round. Exhale, rounding knee to nose. Step the foot all the way through between the hands. Drop that back heel down. Inhale, start to reach the arms all the way up to the sky. We'll come into our warrior one. Big breath in. Exhale out. And from here, turn the shoulders and the hips towards the side of the mat. Line up your heels, extend the arms all the way out to the side. We'll come into our warrior two. So just noticing your alignment in this pose. The back toes are pointing towards the side wall. The front toes are pointing forwards. Notice if the knee wants to roll inwards. Keep the knee rotating outwards towards the back. Breathe. One last breath. And from here, flip the front palm all the way up to the sky. And inhale, reach all the way up and back, reverse warrior. And extending all the way outwards. And as you exhale, slowly releasing back to warrior two, we'll take the elbow onto the knee. Inhale, the right arm up to the sky, all the way up and over by the ear. And we'll come into our triangle, so straighten out through the front leg. We reach the left fingertips down and the right arm reaches all the way up to the sky. Holding. Noticing again if you need to ease off that front knee. One last breath. Gazing down towards the mat, inhale, start to rise all the way up to standing. Hands come onto the hips and we'll turn the chest and the shoulders towards the front of the mat. And then slightly walk your right foot out to the side and inwards. So we're shortening our stance. Sweep the arms back behind you. Go for the same option that you did on the other side. If you interlaced your elbows, see if you can interlace them in a slightly different way. The opposite way. Inhale, lift through the chest. Exhale, slowly hinging from the hips, folding forwards. Opening up the hamstrings in our pyramid pose. And keeping the hands exactly where they are, you can release the arms, place the fingertips down, and relax. And keep rotating the left hip back and the right hip inwards. One last breath. And slowly from here, coming up halfway, maybe keeping the hands exactly where they are, or splitting the arms out to the side or forwards. Bend into the front knee, start to shift all the way forwards. Extend the right leg back, extend through the heart and the chest. Keep the chest and the heart lifted. Maybe the gaze goes forwards. And we hold and breathe for 5, 4, noticing your balance today, 3, notice if there's a difference between the right and the left side body. Slowly bending into the left knee, placing both fingertips down onto blocks, onto the mat, whatever you need to do for you. Inhale, lengthen through the spine. Exhale, start to walk the hands inwards. We're coming into a standing split. You can always keep the chest open if it's too much on the hamstring to fold inwards, but keep that right leg extending up to the sky. And maybe if you want a little more, left hand to the left heel, right hand to the left heel. Breathe. And take one last breath. Bend into the left knee, sneak the right foot back, and you come onto the ball of that back foot. Placing both hands down onto the mat, you tuck the back toes under, bend into the back knee, place the knee down onto the mat, and then maybe untuck the toes. And I didn't say it on the other side, but you're absolutely welcome to pad up your mat. So you roll up your mat to protect that back knee if it needs that little bit of extra padding. Inhale, start to peel the chest all the way up. Maybe the hands stay onto the thigh and you lift the chest away. Maybe the hands come through heart center. Maybe the arms reach up to the sky. And final option, you might take a slight lift of the heart. Breathing in and breathing out. Wherever you are, envision that the energy is lifting upwards through the torso, but we're allowing the hips to become slightly heavier. One last breath. And slowly placing the hands down onto the mat. Right hand stays down onto the mat, maybe keeping the knee onto the mat. Inhale, extending the left arm all the way up to the sky. If you did it on the other side and you tucked the back toes under and lifted the back knee, and do that here. And instead of collapsing into that right shoulder, lift up through the right shoulder, bend into the left knee and lean back into the pose. And you might stay here, you might roll onto the outer edge of the right foot, outer edge of the left foot. You send the hips down, you come into that hip dip. Breathing here for 5 and 4, 3, 2, 1. Slowly extending all the way back, placing the hands down, framing the front foot. Tuck the back toes under, lift the back knee if it's not already. And then draw the left knee to the nose, hold and hover. And then extend that left leg all the way up to the sky. You open out through the hip and bend into the left knee. Maybe stay here, and feel free to stay here, or come onto the ball of that back foot. You shift forwards over the arms, just for joint stability and for the shoulders, and then roll onto the outside edge of the right foot. Left fingertips get lighter and lighter and lighter, and slowly, slowly use your core. Ball of the left foot plants down, sole of the right foot plants down, and the chest lifts. Wild thing. Make this pose feel expressive. Slowly coming all the way back, downward facing dog. Really nice. Let's drop the knees to the mat. And let's take the toes to touch, hips to the heels, sink back into child's pose. Notice the change in your body. Notice the breath. Finding some more energy here. So inhale is an energizing breath, and the exhale is nice and smooth and soft and grounding. And let's take a twist in this child's pose. Inhale, sweep the right arm all the way up to the sky. As you exhale, threading the right arm underneath the left arm. And you might just stay here with the left arm extended forward, the right temple down to the mat. Maybe you take the left arm all the way up to the sky. Maybe you take a bind left hand inside of the right inner thigh. 2 more breaths. 1 last breath. Slowly releasing the pose, coming all the way back to center. Left hand down, right arm down, extending out in front of you. Inhale, the left arm reaches all the way up to the sky. As you exhale, threading the left arm underneath the right arm, left temple, left shoulder down. Maybe staying here, right arm extended, right arm up to the sky. Right arm reaches back around and takes hold of the inner thigh. 2 more breaths. You might even close your eyes and really tap into the inhales, the exhales, and the twist that's happening in the torso. Slowly releasing the pose. And from here, slowly just peel yourself up, planting the hands down. Tuck the back toes under, lift the knees all the way off the mat and come back to a downward facing dog. We're going to go for a pigeon pose. And pigeon pose is not always everyone's favourite pose, depending on how open the hips are feeling today. You're always welcome to lie down on the back and go for more of a figure 4 stretch where you take the right ankle over the left knee and then you just lie down on the back, interlace the fingers through, and then you draw the knee into the chest. So choose whichever option is best for you. But if you want to give pigeon a go, then come with me. Inhale, the right leg reaches up to the sky, bend the knee and open out through the hip again. This time maybe start to do a few circles with the knee, so the knee moves outwards, inwards towards the chest, all the way up to the sky again. Just explore that movement for yourself. And then rounding knee over towards the right elbow. Drop the knee down towards the right wrist and then place the shin down onto the mat. Flex into the right foot, so that's going to protect the knee. And then start to slide that left hip down the mat. And maybe lift through the chest. The closer that heel is towards the left hip, the less opening you're going to get into the right hip. And that might be enough for you. Or you flex into the right foot and you swing that leg all the way out and it might become a 90-degree bend. But doing whatever it is that feels best for you. You can always take the left knee in as well. Inhale, lift through the chest. Exhale, start to fold forwards. So the elbows maybe plant down. Maybe the forehead onto a block. And you might be able to walk the hands all the way out in front of you. And we're going to take a few breaths here. I always like to take a few longer breaths in a hip opening pose like pigeon pose because I believe that the hips just take a little bit more time to open than the rest of the body. Letting go, letting go, letting go. Let everything just release down into the mat. Let the whole body just relax here. As you inhale, invite that space into the right hip. As you exhale, just releasing. Just taking a few more breaths. You might notice if you are the type of person where this is really easy for you to stay here. Or you might notice that you're the type of person who's itching to get out of the pose. And just allow that awareness to be there, but then just allow the pose and the breath to release. And taking one last breath. And slowly just start to peel yourself all the way up to seated. And we're going to sit all the way into the right sit bone and swing that left leg all the way around to the front. And if you did your lying down reclined pigeon, just come to seated on your mat. And take the sole of the right foot into the ankle, the calf, or the inner thigh, and the knee moves out to the side. We're going to go for a Janushirasana, flexing into the left foot. Inhale, find space into the spine and the chest. Exhale, start to fold forwards. So maybe the elbows come down, maybe the palms. Maybe you take hold of the foot or the ankle. Inhale, find more space. Exhale, release the pose. And taking 3 more breaths. Slow exhales. Slowly coming all the way up to a seated position. Let's take a twist. Let's draw the right knee into the chest. Place the sole of the right foot down onto the mat. And it's okay if that right hip needs to lift off. Extend out through the left leg. Place the right hand back behind you. Inhale, the left arm reaches all the way up to the sky. Exhale, hug the knee into the chest. Inhale, find space. Exhale, twist. Marichyasana C. You can always take the elbow outside of the knee. One last breath. Slowly from here, just release the pose and counter rotate to the opposite side. And from here, just hug both knees into the chest. We're going to go for one Navasana boat pose, just to fire up through the core. Inhale, start to rock up high into the sit bones. Interlace the fingers behind the thighs, lift through the chest, lift through the legs, maybe staying here, or taking the arms all the way out. Maybe take the arms all the way up to the sky, maybe straighten out through the legs. Challenge yourself in this pose. We'll hold for last 5. Breathe and smile to yourself. Notice all the shakes and the wobbles that are going on in the body. Building lots of strength. And slowly release. Exhale, hug the knees into the chest. So we're going to make it back to a downward facing dog. Cross the ankles, place the hands out in front of you, and simply just step back into your downward facing dog. Send the hips high. Big breath in. Big breath out. And second side. Inhale, the left leg reaches up to the sky. Open out through the hip. Bend the knee, and then slowly just start to do a few rolls with that hip. So the knee comes inwards, outwards, up to the sky, and then roll the other way. Slowly allow the knee to move towards the left elbow, down towards the left wrist. Place the shin down onto the mat. Extend that right leg all the way back behind you. If you're going for that reclined pigeon, just roll onto your back and go as you please. And again, the shin, the closer it is towards you, the lighter the stretch. The further away it is, the deeper the stretch. Squaring off the hips and the shoulders. Inhale, find space. Exhale, slowly start to mount the chest down, and you're welcome to stay upright if you wish to. And remember, we're here for a little while. We're here for a few extra breaths. So just notice that. And really allow yourself to soften in this pose. And just notice any differences between the right hip and the left hip. And with just this awareness of the breath and with a regular yoga practice, we can start to bring our bodies into further balance. Normally, if we have one side of the body which is a lot open than the other, if we continue to go really open on that side will always be a lot more open. So try and find that balance. Maybe spending a little bit more time on a side that you know that you need to open a little bit further. And staying with the breath. Notice the inhales rising into the torso, into the hips, the lower back. And the exhales, allow the lower back to melt further into the mat. Let's take 2 more breaths. And slowly just peeling yourself up to that seated position. Swing that right leg all the way around and come to a seated position. Feel free to sit on a block if you need to as well. Left sole of the foot comes into the ankle, calf or the inner thigh, wherever it was on the opposite side. Try and do the same with this side. Inhale, lift through the chest. Exhale, folding forwards. Janushasana, maybe taking hold of the foot or the ankle. Exhale, fold. And feel the space and length into the torso as well, especially into the right side body and the left side body. Lift up through the core and exhale, fold even deeper. Only if the hamstring allows. Remember, we need to listen to our body, listen to what our body needs. One last breath. And slowly lifting all the way up. Let's go for our twist. Hug the left knee into the chest. Place the sole of the left foot down onto the mat. Left arm reaches back behind you. The right arm reaches all the way up to the ceiling. Find length through the right side body. Exhale, hug the left knee into the chest. Maybe taking the elbow outside of the knee. Inhale, space. Exhale, twist. And keep flexing into the right foot so you can really firm up through the right thigh. And that will help you find more lift through the torso. One last breath. And slowly just counter rotate to the opposite side. Relax the head, relax the gaze. And slowly come together. We'll take the soles of the feet together and the knees come out wide. If you have really tight hips, go for more of a diamond shape. If you know you have more open hips, take the hips directly towards the heels. Take the fingertips back behind you. Inhale, find length and lift through the spine, through the torso, through the crown of the head. And exhale, slowly start to fold forwards. You might keep the hands where they are. You might take hold of the ankles or the feet. Maybe draw the elbows in towards the creases of the knees. And just relax here. Relax the torso, relax the spine, relax and release through the shoulders. You're welcome to just round a little bit in this pose. Make this more of a passive forward fold. One last breath. And slowly inhale, rolling all the way up to seated. Place the soles of the feet down onto the mat. Slowly send the hips towards the heels. Extend the arms all the way out and we'll do a really slow roll, slow and controlled, all the way to lying down on our backs. So we've got the lower back, then the middle back, and then the upper back. And from here, just hug the knees into the chest. Let's take a happy baby pose, flexing into the feet. Take the knees into the armpits. You might take hold of the backs of the knees, the soles of the feet, and just sway a little bit from side to side. If you're living in more of an open body and you want a little more, you can take the 2 peace fingers around the big toes and inhale, extend the legs all the way out to the side. And hug the knees into the chest. And take a big inhale. And a slow, long exhale. Just extend through the right leg, extend through the left leg. Allow the ankles to just move out to the side softly. Allow the calf muscles to release, the inner thighs, the hips can feel heavy. And allow the palms to face all the way up to the sky. Entering softly into our final resting pose, Shavasana, the most important pose. Notice the breath rising and falling into the lower belly. Notice the breath just dissolving into its natural, original state of breath. So we're not controlling the breath, we're just allowing it to be. And slowly start to deepen through the breath. Big inhales. Big exhales. And just start to wiggle through the fingers and toes. On a gentle inhale, reach the arms up and overhead. Find a full body stretch, a little yawn. And then slowly just hug the knees into the chest. Give yourself a squeeze, a rock. And then roll all the way over to your right side. Into this fetal position, this place of security, stability. And slowly just coming all the way up to a comfortable seated position on the mat, and try and keep your eyes closed. Try and keep your awareness into the internal body. Draw your hands through heart center. Take a big breath in. Big breath out, bowing your chin to your chest with gratitude for the time that you've spent on your mat today. for connecting with the breath, the movement, for opening the hamstrings, the hips. And thank you for practicing with me today. Namaste. Thank you so much for practicing with me. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day. And thank you. I hope to see you next time.